Hello everyone. Till now, we have seen many activities and we work on many activities how to work on Excel automation. Now, in this session, we are going to work on a small project. Before that, let me open my Excel, which we are going to work it. In this session, we are going to work on the student project, which is having student marks and all this. I know that we have worked on so many Excel activities on the same Excel. But now we are going to work on the small kind of project to calculate the sum of the marks of the student of each and every student by using the activities which we have learned in the past. Now let me explain you what are the activities which we are going to use in this small automation Excel automation project. Excel application scope, read range, assign activity, for each row activity, write cell, message box, and data table. These are all the activities which we are going to be using. Student is pass or fail, or what is the total marks he has perceived, and is he fail or not, what kind of grade he got it, and all these things, right? Now we are going to do the same thing, but here a little bit different. Only we are going to calculating the total of marks which the particular student has got it in the particular examination. Okay, now if you see what are the steps or involving in this Excel automation. The first thing is that first step, Excel application scope. By using Excel application scope, we're going to open the Excel and we're going to read the Excel by using Excel application scope. Next one, by using read range, that I'm going to read the entire range from A1 cell to H18. I'm going to read the entire data, and then based on that I'm going to calculate the number of student of each and every student marks, and then I'm going to print or write the student marks over here. Okay, now I'm going to assigning row number over there to calculate the marks, to calculate the row number of rows that what we have, and I'm going to loop of each and every row, and I'm going to increment by row to calculate the marks, and also I'm going to assign total marks equal to 0 at the starting time, so that I'm going to calculate the student total marks, and then I'm going to write the value over here. Okay, so by using data table, we're going to, by read range, we're going to read the entire range, and then I'm going to store the output of the read range in the data table, right? That I hope you have seen in the multiple previous sessions. Now I'm going through the loop for each row, and then I'm going to loop of each and every row in the data table, and then I'm going to write cell, I'm going to write the data in the particular cell of I column. Okay, and then finally I will go for the message box to display that what has been completed. Nothing but after the completion of these total marks that we can see, and then we can see that the data has been successfully completed and we got the total number of marks. Now if you see, I'm going to calculate only 18 students or 17 student marks only that I'm calculating. But observe, but let's check it out how if we have lakhs of students, then how can we go ahead and do that by using bot? That is very important to understand the situation of the understand the scenario of the project. Okay, now without wasting time, now let me go ahead, let me create a bot to calculate the students projects and to print in the column of I. Let me close the Excel for the time being. Now we are in the UiPath Studio, and I have already created a project or the process Excel automation student project that I have given the name, and you can see the path. We are having the student marks which I have shown you in the Excel right now. Now let me open the main.xaml. Now as the first step, we have to open this sequence. This is the main.xaml, right? Let me go to activities, and I want to take the sequence. Okay, I'm going to name the sequence as the property. Let me go to the properties of the sequence. I'm going to display the name as student project. Now, as the first step, what we have to do, we have to use the Excel application scope. By using Excel application scope, we are going to read the Excel file of the student marks. All right. Now let me go to Excel activities. let me drag and drop Excel application scope onto my panel. Now let me browse the file, which file that I have to, student marks of the project. Okay, now by using Excel application scope, we have gathered the data, or we have read the Excel that is named with the student marks.xls file. Now, if you see, as a second step, we have to read the data, entire data in the Excel, right? What we have to do, what is the activity that we are going to use? We are going to use read range activity. Now, let me drag and drop read range activity onto my do activity. Let me drop that. Now, let me go to the properties. I have to read the entire data in the particular sheet, right? And after that only that I have to add extra column, or I have to add in the I column, right? So for that, what is the range that I have given? I have just given double quote, nothing but I'm going to read the entire data of the Excel of the sheet one, right? And if you see over here, the add headers is mandatory. That I'm having the headers column, so that I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to add the headers, so that I don't want to if you see in the Excel that what we are having the Hindi, English and all these things, right? So that are the columns. So I'm having the columns in the Excel, so that I'm going to use add header. Now I'm going to use the data table to store the data which we have been used to read the by using read range. So what we have to give, let me go ahead and click on Control K. So I'm going to set a variable of the for the data table. I will say read range. Okay, I'm just saying where read range data table. Okay, it's a very long name. So, but in future that we can understand why we are giving that much of long names. Now let me go to the variables, and if you see, the variable has been created where read range data table, and variable type is data table. And you can see the scope we are having in the do scope, right? Now this is how we are going to read the data, and entire data has been read it. Now if you see, we are having data in the data table. Now I have to go ahead and loop the data. So how can I go ahead and do that? By using for each loop. For each row that I'm going to use this activity, and then I'm going to read each and every row. Now you can see for each row in of what, and you can see the properties of for each row, that you can see the input as the data table, right? Now let me go to the data table. What is the data table name? Var read range data table. Okay, so that it is very easy to understand. Okay, from the read range, this is the output, so that I'm going to use the same thing. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I have for each and every row that I'm going to read the no I'm going to read the values, and then I'm going to calculate the sum of the marks. Okay, fine. Now here is the main logic exists. So now what I have to do, for each and every row that I want to calculate the sum of the marks, right? So what I have to do, first of all, the sum of the marks I need to calculate. How can I calculate? I'm going to take some assign activities. Okay, you can see here assign. Let me go for and search for the assign. There are two type of things. We are having multiple assign and single assign also. For the time being, I can use both the things. Both are the same. If I am having multiple assigning values, multiple values I have to assign, then I will go for the multiple assign. If I want to use single assign values, then I will go for the single assign. Okay, fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use single assign over here. Let me drag and drop into the table. So I have read each and every table. So I'm going for the total marks. I'm going to keep it as a total marks. It's a variable, I'm going to creating it. So set variable total marks. Let me click on enter. Now I'm going to calculate the sum of the marks. So from the row, let me open the Excel once again so that you will understand very easily. Now if you see, I'm having headers, so that it will start from here. Each and every row, first row, I'm having the sum of the marks from where I'm going to calculate row of 1, 2, 3. So row of 2 and row of plus row of 3, row of 4, row of 5, row of 6, plus row of 7. These are all the rows that we are going to, sum of the marks, and then you are going to display in the marks, right? Now let me go ahead. Let me, the sum of the marks, I'm going to say it as row of. So now where the values are there? Now the row, each and every row we are having in this row, so the same row that I'm going to. Now I'm not going to be using any indexing. I'm just using directly with the names of the columns, like row of Hindi. All right. Now let me go to expand this VB expression over here to write all the values. Okay. Now if you see the total marks I have given as, okay, let me go ahead, let me click on cancel. The total marks are the integer, right? So now I have to change the value to integer type from string to int32. Okay, let me go ahead, let me save it. Let me go to the expression of the, assign value. Let me go ahead, let me do that. Now if you see, row of Hindi is nothing but this is the string value that we are going to get it. Now I'm going to convert. How can we go ahead and get the control space? You can use it, so that convert. So this is the IntelliSense. To get this IntelliSense, you can use control space. Okay, dot 2 int 32 of what? Of row of Hindi. Hindi is the starting one, right? Hindi the marks that what we are having in the first one, right? Now I'm going to concatenate with the remaining subjects. What I will do, I'm going to just copy in this to save the time, and you can see over here what I'm going to do. First is Hindi, another one subject is English, so I don't want to bother about the order of the subjects right over here. Okay, now Telugu, next one maths, science and social. Okay, let me type that. Social. Okay, let me click on OK. Now up to now what we have done, let me explain you once again. I have opened the Excel by using Excel application scope. I have read the entire range of the Excel by using read range. I have given double quotes, nothing but entire range. So that what will happen, this data from here to here, I'm having even headers also, it will be storing in the data table. Now in the data table, by using data table, I'm going to read each and every row in the data table by using for each row. So what will happen? The headers, it will be skipped out. We have seen already, right? The first row, this one, each and every row in the loop. First row, second row, third row, like that. Now what we have done, I have assigned a value, assigning a variable by using assign, so that total marks is nothing but that will convert, what are the marks that we have. I'm going to calculate from Hindi to social by using row of IDs, row of index or row of the column names that we have. Now what I will do, it's not completed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to display the message like that. What are the marks that you are going to get it or not? Okay, let me drag and drop the marks over here, message box over here, and then I'm going to say total marks. Total marks right now is an integer, so that I'm going to convert into to string, nothing but to display in the message box. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, now let me execute that. So there are a lot of things, because of first time you will get 544 marks of the first student marks, and then it will go to thousands and all these things. I will tell you what is the reason. Okay, now let me go ahead, let me execute the bot. Now if you see the first one, 554 marks for Amir, you got it. Okay, now 525, 545. Okay, it is going to be, because of we have assigned default values, very good. So it is going to be getting all the marks of the student. Fantastic. Now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to write the data. I have calculated each and every student marks, but I have to write the data in the new cell. Over here, I need to write it, right? So how can I go ahead and write the data over here? Now, so first of all, we have to check it out the rows of the values, right? So each and every row, first row, I have to put some value. Second row that I have to do the calculation, then I have to go ahead proceed further, right? For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign a row number over here. Where I'm going to assign this row number? I'm going to assign this row number after read range. Let me drag and drop. The reason is that for each and every row, if you see, this is the row number one. Obviously, this is the row number one, but we have the add headers, right? That's the reason we're going to say row number one, row number two, row number three, row number four, five, six, seven, eight, and so on. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign creating a variable control K. I'm going to say row number. So I'm going to click on enter. In the data table, if you see, this is the row number one, right? In the Excel, this is the first row. I want to skip it out so that, I'm going to add by one. First of all, I will set the value as one over here. And then when I'm going to loop it, I'm going to increase by one. Okay. I'm going to increase the value of the row number by one. So that what will happen? The values will be in the clear way. Okay, let me go ahead and assign one more assign over here. That's the reason I told to use multiple assigns, or it's better to use multiple assigns, right? Now, what is the row number that we have to change it to string, from string to integer, because of row number we are going to be calculating in integer. Okay, now row number I'm going to assign once again row number by one, row number plus 1 plus 1. Okay, let me go ahead, let me click on enter. Now what will happen whenever the loop is happening, it will go to this value. Okay, row number 1, 1 plus 1, row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, row number 5, and so on. Okay, till the end of the file. Now we have calculated the rows also. Now I want to write cell. By using write cell, I want to write the data which we have calculated as part of the total marks. So if you see the total marks I have calculated over here for each and every row, that row I'm going to write it by using write cell. Okay. Now let me go ahead, let me delete it, or we will use this message box for some other purpose, like message box has been completed, or the bot has been completed successfully. Now what I'm going to do, by using write cell, let me drag and drop over here. If you see the cell, write cell, if you see the write cell properties, that is the range that we have and the sheet name that what we have. Sheet name 1 and the range, that is the cell starts from the cell, or we can give A1 to B1 or A1 to some other range that we can give it. Okay, now what I am going to do, I'm going to start from I. If you see over here, there are a lot of ways to dynamically also, but I'm not using all the activities. I'm just using whatever the activities which we have learned in the previous sessions. Okay, there are so many ways to calculate the number of marks, but here I'm going to use which are the activities which we learned in the previous session. Okay, now what I'm going to do, if you see over here, the cell is I1. So that is the I column that I'm going to use it. But do you see, this is the static one. But how can we go dynamically? I can increase the row number. Over here, this is the main law. Be careful. I'm just going to concatenate I plus row number dot to string. What I'm going to do, I have removed I1, the numeric value, and then I'm going to concatenate. Let me go ahead, let me show the expression for you. Let me double click on that. Now if you see, I in double quotes, this is the column we have seen in the Excel, right? That Excel plus row number. So row number each and every time if you're going to get the loop, I'm going to increment row number by one, and then that the row number I of one, I of two, I2, I3, I4, and so on, it will comes. Okay. Now I have given the cell also, which cell that I have to write it. But the total the data I have to write it, don't forget to write the what is the formula that we have to write. So simply we have already taken the formula over here, right? Two, that is total marks. If you see I have calculated the total marks, that I'm going to write it over here, total marks dot toString. Okay, this is all about, and then I can say the message box bot execution completed. Bot execution completed, or project has been successfully executed, like that I'm going to give it. Okay, now let me explain you once again. I'm going to taking the sequence with the name student project. I'm going to open the Excel. I'm going to calculate the student marks, and I'm going to print it out in the Excel in the I column by using this project, right? So for that, I'm going to use studentmarks.xls project Excel file that I'm going to use it, and I'm going to read it by using Excel application scope. And then the entire data I'm going to read it by using read range, and the output I'm going to store it in the output of where read range data table. So in the data table, I want to read it each and every row. For that purpose, I'm going to use for each row of the data table. By using that, I can read each and every row. So each and every row that I'm going to read one by row, one by one, right? So that what I'm going to do, I'm going to assigning a total marks as a variable, which is integer type, and then I'm going to add or some of the marks that I want to say convert dot 2 in 32 of row of Hindi, row of English, row of Telugu, row of math, all the subjects I'm going to marks that which we got it in the particular row. I'm going to add all the rows of the data, and then I'm going to say total marks of the particular student. So once it has been completed, I need to increase the row number by 1, and then I'm going to write in the cell of I cell with the I have to dynamically increase the row number, right? So that what I'm going to do, I double quotes in I plus row number dot toString that I'm going to increase in the particular loop, and then I'm going to write the total number of marks in that. So that finally I will go for the message box. The bot execution has been completed successfully, and we can see the data we can see in the Excel after writing by using write cell. I have made a small change over here before starting the bot. This message box I have moved out of this for each loop, for each row, and then I kept it in the Excel application scope do activity. Okay. I'm very excited to run this bot to see the output. Now, without wasting time, let's execute the bot. Now, if you see, and you can see the marks this bot is going to executing and writing each and every time, and you can see all at a time that the bot has been executed successfully. And you can see the marks over here. Let me drag this message box over here, and now you can see over here the number of student marks, the total it has been calculated within time, and then it has been executed successfully. Let me go ahead, let me click on that. Okay, let me explain you again what are the activities that I have used. Okay, so if you see, I have used Excel application scope, read range, assign for each row, write cell, message box activities have been used. Along with that, I have used one more variable type, that data table, to calculate the sum of the marks of the students. I hope you like this project in a simple manner. Thank you for watching UiPath tutorials. If you have any queries related to this concept, please post them in the comment section. I will see you in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Have a nice day.